97% of men over 50 miss the moment a woman starts flirting with them, not because they're blind or out of touch, but because the signs aren't what they used to be. She's not going to touch your arm and giggle like a teenager. She's not going to say, "I like you," or ask you out over drinks. Instead, she'll ask a question, soft, casual, seemingly harmless, that opens the door. And if you don't walk through it, the door closes just as quietly as it opens. That's how it happens. You walk away thinking it was a nice conversation. She walks away thinking, well, I guess he's not interested. You didn't say the wrong thing. You just didn't say the right thing because you didn't realize what she was really asking. This video delves into subtle non-romantic questions women ask to gauge interest without fully committing. We'll explore 8 such questions, revealing their true meaning, significance, and how to respond effectively. The goal is to show you're present and genuine, not desperate or chasing. After 50, most men find they don't need to try harder. They just need to notice more. And once you do, you'll start to see interest where you used to see politeness, warmth, where you thought there was just small talk and attraction. Real grown-up mutual attraction where you once assumed you were invisible. Let's start with the first question. It sounds innocent, but it's one of the biggest tests you'll ever throw your way. Question number 1, how old are you? Really, it sounds playful, innocent even. But when a woman looks you in the eye and says, "How old are you?" Really, she's not asking for a number. She's asking for something else entirely. She already knows you're not 30. She's not trying to guess your age for sport. What she's really doing is feeling out how comfortable you are in your own skin. She wants to know, do you carry your age like a burden or like a badge? And the way you answer will tell her everything. If you flinch, deflect, or turn it into a joke about getting older, she'll smile politely, maybe even laugh, but inside the energy shifts because what she's looking for isn't it's presence, confidence, a sense that you're still fully alive in your own life, not apologizing for the years you've lived. The men who stand out at our age aren't trying to look younger. They're the ones who've made peace with their timeline, who can say without blinking old enough to know what matters, young enough to enjoy the ride. Even with a slow grin, "You want my age or my attitude?" I once spoke to a man named Rick, 64, divorced, silver hair, sharp dresser. He told me about a conversation he had at the downtown jazz lounge. She was maybe late 40s, early 50s, smart, classy, and after a little back and forth, she leaned in and said it. "How old are you really?" Rick, thinking he was being clever, replied, "Too old for you." She laughed, but not the way he hoped. He said the spark dimmed almost instantly. And later that night, he realized he didn't just dodge the question, he dodged the moment. That's what most men miss. These questions are in interviews. They're invitations. And when you answer them with self-doubt or self-deprecation, she hears it loud and clear. Here's what's really happening under the surface. As we get older, we carry more history, more scars, more quiet fears that maybe we're not seen anymore. But women, we feel that energy. And when they ask something like this, they're not just curious about your age, they're curious about your aliveness. So the next time a woman asks you how old you are, really don't reach for the punchline. Don't treat it like a test. Treat it like a door. Because if she's asking, that means she's already thinking maybe, and your answer will tell her if the door stays open. Question number 2, why aren't you married? That question sounds innocent enough, right? But make no mistake, when a younger woman asks an older man this, she's not making small talk. She's probing, she's measuring. She's not asking for your dating histories. She's scanning for an opening. This question is never just about curiosity. It's her way of saying, is there space in your life for me? And more importantly, why hasn't anyone else claimed you yet? Here's what most older men don't realize. When a woman asks this, she's already intrigued. You've got her attention, you're calm, composed, maybe a little mysterious, and she's wondering why someone like you is still on the market. That mystery creates tension, and tension is magnetic. If you fumble the answer tree to justify, apologize, or over-explain, you kill that tension. You step out of your grounded masculine frame and into performance mode. And that's exactly what she's not looking for. See, in Stoic philosophy, a man doesn't rush to justify his choices. He stands by them with quiet certainty. If your life is full, if your standards are high, and if you haven't rushed into marriage just to fit in, that's not something to defend. That's something to own. She wants to know if you're single by choice, not by circumstance. Because men who choose their freedom deliberately project power, and power, when paired with peace, is irresistible. You might think this question is a red flag, and sometimes it is, if it comes with judgment or pressure. But often it's the opposite. It's a sign she's assessing compatibility. She's not looking for flaws. She's looking for a place to fit into your world. She's scanning for readiness. Now, let's flip it for a second. Why do so many men panic when they hear this question? Because they think it's a trap. They feel like they have to prove they're still good enough despite not being married. But a Stoic doesn't chase validation. He knows that solitude, when chosen, is strength, not weakness. So when she asks, "Why aren't you married?" don't fill the silence with explanations. Let your life speak for itself. Let your self-assured presence say, "Because I've waited for the right woman," not just any woman. That answer says more than 1,000 words ever could. And here's something deeper. Sometimes women ask this because they're testing whether your peace can be disturbed. If she can make you flinch, make you stumble, make you second-guess your own part, she'll lose interest. Not because you failed her expectations, but because you failed your own center. Being unmarried isn't a problem. Being uncertain about it is when you answer with calm. No neediness, no apologies. You flip the dynamic. Suddenly, she's the one wondering if she's the one who could break through your inner peace. That's when she gets addicted, not to you, but to the feeling she has around you. That subtle, steady pull of a man who's not trying to win her over because he's already whole. So, next time you hear, "Why aren't you married?" look her in the eye and smile. Not because you've rehearsed an answer, but because you don't need one. Let your vibe do the heavy lifting. That question in the right frame isn't an interrogation. It's an invitation. You want to know the real Stoic move. It's not in the answer. It's in the pause. That pause where you don't rush to explain, where you're comfortable with the silence. That's when she leans in, because in that stillness, she feels something rare. A man who isn't chasing time or people or approval is already exactly where he needs to be. I want you to feel that. And if you do, drop it in the comments. I choose peace. And keep watching, because the next part just might change the way you handle every question women ask you. Question number 3. Do you date younger women? Now, this is the fire test. She already knows the answer, but she's not asking for information. She's testing for shame, for hesitation, for weakness. Because if you flinch, if you explain too much, if you sound like you're guilty for wanting what you want, she feels it and walks. You need to understand, when a younger woman asks, "Do you date younger women?" she's not fishing for your dating profile. She's checking your frame. She wants to know, do you own who you want? Or are you the kind of man who folds under pressure and pretends his truth is negotiable? You see, this question carries a lot of weight in today's world. There's social judgment, stereotypes, assumptions, and if you respond like you're trying to defend yourself, you shrink in her eyes. Because the man who really dates younger women doesn't talk about it like it's something controversial, isn't it? He talks about it like it's normal, like it's his reality, like it's just what it is. And that energy is what she craves. No, this isn't about being arrogant. It's about being unapologetic. There's a difference. But Stoicism teaches us to accept nature as it is, not as we wish it to be. Nature doesn't care about age gaps. Nature cares about polarity, vitality, the energy of direction and attraction. So when a woman senses that you're a man of presence, discipline, and certain type qualities many younger men lack, she's naturally drawn to that. And she's not the only one. She knows other women are watching. She knows you've got options. And when she asks, "Do you date younger women?" what she's really asking is, "Am I one of them? Can I be part of your world?" It's such not a judgment. It's a question of access, the right move. Keep it light, keep it cool, and speak truth without flinching. Something simple like, "I date women I connect with." Age hasn't stopped that yet. Say it with a smile, not as a defense, but as a man who knows the value he brings, regardless of number. And if she pushes, if she wants to make it a thing, let her. Stay calm. Don't engage in debate. That's the trap. Remember, once you start justifying your preferences, you've already lost. You've stepped into her frame, and a Stoic never abandons his own ground. This is about power. Not control over her, but control over yourself. The man who's grounded in his own values, who's not shaken by social noise, who's free enough to choose without guilt, that man becomes rare, desired. Done in the best way. Because here's the truth, she doesn't want to leave. She wants to follow a man who knows where he's going. And when she sees you not trying to convince Hera or anyone that your life is okay, she starts to wonder what makes you so sure. That curiosity pulls her in. That mystery makes you unforgettable. Most men get this wrong. They either get defensive or they get cocky. But the real answer is in your stillness. It's in the way you hold eye contact. It's in how little you try to impress her. Because the second you try too hard, she knows you're not the man you pretend to be. So when she asks, do you date younger women? Pause, smile, then drop the Culstead, most grounded version of your truth. Let her feel that your answer isn't a statement. It's a reflection of your life, of your energy, of your frame. She may lean in, she may test again. Because attraction isn't built through approval. It's built through presence, and when you can answer that question without moving an inch inside, she won't forget you. Say it in the comments if you're done apologizing for your standards. I own what I want, and don't go anywhere. The next question coming up. It's not just a test, it's a setup on that most men fail without even knowing. Question number 4. What kind of woman do you usually go for? This question might sound casual, playful, like she's just making conversation, but don't be fooled. It's not about curiosity. It's about leverage. When a woman asks what type of woman you go for, she's not gathering data. She's trying to locate herself in your world, or more importantly, find out if she needs to become someone else to get your attention. Your answer, if you're not careful, can box you in. Most men eager to connect will spill a checklist. I like feminine, kind, fit, smart, low drama. Sounds good on paper, but what just happened? You gave her a script. You told her how to act. You showed your hand, and the moment she knows exactly what you're chasing, you lose the one thing that makes you magnetic, unpredictability. Instead, flip the script. Not with game, not with manipulation, but with grounded stoic presence. See, this is a test of projection. She wants to see how easily she can enter your mind and influence your image of women. Will you mold your taste to please her? Will you describe someone suspiciously similar to her? Will you perform like every other guy? You don't need to answer that question directly. In fact, the more defined your answer is, the more power you give away. The real play here is to stay rooted in your essence, your preferences. Why? Because your presence should speak louder than any list. You could say something like, the kind of woman I go for tends to reveal herself over time. It's not a type. It's a vibe that lands differently. It signals that you're not a man out here chasing qualifications. You're a man of discernment. You let things unfold. You don't scan for labels. Read energy. This response does 3 things instantly. First, it makes you harder to impress. Second, it makes her want to qualify herself without even realizing it. And third, it subtly puts you in the selector's position where you belong. Most men forget that women already know how to impress guys. The question is whether she wants to if she sees you as the prize, calm, mysterious, focused, not easily influenced. She naturally tries to align with your work. And when you stay vague but grounded, she starts wondering, am I the kind of woman he's talking about? That internal question is where the obsession begins. Stoicism teaches us to move from the inside out, to not react, to not seek validation. This is the moment to leave that teaching, because the moment you try to impress her with what you like, you hand her the keys to your attention. She's now in the driver's seat and she knows it. And let's be honest, if she's asking that question, she's already curious. You're already in her mind. Don't ruin it by explaining yourself. Let your standards be implied, not broadcasted. You can even throw in some humor. That's a bold question. You applying for the role. Say it with a smile. No pressure, just lightness, playfulness, but underneath it all, control. Because here's what separates most men from stoic men. Composure, stillness, intentional speech. And in a world of oversharers and approval seekers, being a man who doesn't feel the need to define everything out loud, that's rare. That's powerful. Remember, if you make her guess, she invests. If you spell it all out, she analyzes. And once a woman starts thinking instead of feeling, the magic fades. So next time she asks what kind of woman you go for, don't list traits, don't perform, don't explain, just be. Say this in the comments. If you know your presence says more than your words, I don't explain myself. And if you think this was subtle, just wait. The next question, that's when she really starts poking your armor. You'll want to be ready. Question number 5. Are you always this charming? When she asks this, don't take it at face value. It's not just a compliment. It's a probe. A way to test if your charm is natural or a switch you flip when you're trying to impress. Most men hungry for approval take the bait. They'll smile wide, double down on their act, or toss out a self-deprecating joke, and just like that, the mystique collapses. But you're not most men. Here's what you need to understand. A woman's attraction isn't just about what you say, it's about what you withhold. This question is her subtle way of asking, is this who you really are, or am I getting the curated version? It's a test of congruence, and the right answer isn't clever. It's composed. You don't need to say much, let your energy speak. A slow smirk, a pause, and then something simple. Only when I feel like it. That answer is loaded. It says you're not trying to please. You're not performing. You're relaxed in your power, and most of all flips the frame. Now she's wondering what it takes to draw that side out of you. Again, this is the stoic advantage. You don't chase charm, you embody calm. And when you're grounded like that, everything you do feels authentic. Women feel it. They lean in because you're not trying to be liked. You're just being. That's rare. That's addictive. Let's break this down practically. If you respond with, I try or only around beautiful women, you turn the moment into a performance. You signal that you're seeking points. But when your response is minimal and unbothered, you shift the gravity of the conversation toward you. You become the one being observed, not the one scrambling to impress. And here's the twist. Charm isn't about words at all. It's about presence, stillness, awareness. You hold eye contact. You're not fidgeting. You're not rushing to feel silence. You're rooted. That's charm. That's confidence without trying. And when a woman notices that and calls it out, she's giving you an invitation to either collapse into the cliché or stay elevated. Think about it. When someone's truly captivating, they don't need to label it. They don't need to confirm or deny it. They let others feel it. And because charm in this context is emotional tension, your job is to maintain it, not diffuse it. You can even play with a question if you want to turn the tension up. Say depends on who's asking. That puts the ball back in her court. Now she has to qualify why she's noticing, why she's invested, why this question even matters. That's a powerful place to sit. Stoicism isn't about cold detachment. It's about composure with purpose. You're not shutting her out. You're just refusing to dance for her amusement. You're inviting her into your world slowly. And in that slowness, she becomes more curious, more engaged, more attracted. Remember, most women are used to men crumbling under flirtation. So when you don't bite, when you don't blush, when you stay in your body, she feels it. And whether she realizes it or not, her brain starts working overtime. Why isn't he reacting? Does he hear this kind of thing all the time? Is this just how he is? And once you've sparked that loop in her head, game over. You now live rent-free in her mind. Let this land. The less you try to prove your charm, the more magnetic it becomes. Your value isn't something you explain, it's something you are. If you've ever had a woman say this to you and you didn't know what to do with it, now you do. Comment, I don't perform because that's exactly what she wants to see. Can you hold the tension without needing to break it? Keep watching. She's about to take it a step further. Question number 6. Why don't you have a girlfriend? This isn't just small talk. This is a calculated move. When a woman asks why you don't have a girlfriend, what she's really doing is measuring demand. She's searching for signals. Is this man high value but emotionally unavailable? Is he single by choice or by rejection? She's not just curious, she's scanning for scarcity. Because here's a fact that still confuses most men. Women are drawn to what other women want but can't quite have. So if you hear this question and feel like you need to defend yourself, you've already lost the frame. Men who start explaining, well, I've just been busy with work or I haven't found the right one, think they're clarifying. What they're really doing is justifying their loneliness. And justification kills intrigue. It signals you feel something's missing. But the truth is not having a girlfriend isn't a gap. It's leverage if you frame it right. The Stoic approach is simple. You don't defend, you own. Not having a girlfriend isn't the absence of options, it's the presence of standard. When you embody that, your answer becomes powerful. Try something like this. I'm focused right now. I don't do distractions or because I don't settle, and I don't chase. A short, direct, no fluff. And more importantly, it flips the spotlight. Now she's thinking, am I a distraction or a contender? Let's go deeper from a psychological standpoint. This question taps into the idea of mate value assessment. In evolutionary terms, a woman wants to align with a man who has the ability to attract other women, but chooses to be selective. The key word here is chooses. If you come off as someone who can't get a girlfriend, the game is over. But if you communicate that you don't want just any girlfriend, you've got her attention, and now she's in the position of wondering what kind of woman would qualify. The trick is to stay grounded. Don't joke about being too picky. Don't give a dramatic speech about how you've been hurt before. That's reactive energy. What you want to radiate is calm selectiveness. Like you're not in a rush, like you've got options, but you've trained your appetite. When you're not looking for chaos, you're protecting your peace. This is where Stoicism gives you the upper hand. When your life is full, when you're driven by purpose, when you're content on your own, you stop needing to explain anything. That's what separates the average man from the magnetic. The average man wants to be understood. The magnetic man lets the mystery do the heavy lifting. Now let's get practical. Picture the moment you're mid-conversation. She leans in, smiles, maybe twirls her hair, and drops the line. So why don't you have a girlfriend? Don't rush. Let the silence read. Hold eye contact just a second longer than expected and then drop your answer, not with arrogance, but with certainty. It's not about showing off. It's about showing you're centered. And then do nothing. Don't fill the space. Don't explain more than necessary. Let her sit with your words. Let her process the unspoken message. This man is not lonely. He's intentional. And now, whether she realizes it or not, she's in a new frame. She's no longer assessing you. She's wondering if she could qualify. Here's something women won't admit. They're more intrigued by the man who walks alone by choice than the man constantly surrounded by attention. Solitude, when paired with strength, becomes seductive. It signals that your validation isn't outsourced, and that creates gravitational pull. So the next time she asks why you're single, don't flinch. Smile if you want, pause. Then tell her what she doesn't expect, because peace is better than chasing someone who doesn't get it. Now she'll wonder, do I get it? Comment, I choose peace. And stay tuned, because the next question she'll ask, it's not just curiosity, it's the beginning of pursuit. Question number 7. Would you ever date someone like me? This isn't just flirtation. It's strategy wrapped in softness. When she asks, would you ever date someone like me? She's not fishing for compliments. She's flipping the power dynamic. This question isn't about your answer. It's about how you handle being subtly challenged. She's testing your frame. At surface level, it sounds like vulnerability, like she's opening the door for you to reassure her. Maybe flirt a little, give her the green light. But under the surface, it's a shift. She's inviting you into her world to see how much of your power you're willing to give up. Most men respond with something like, of course I would, or definitely, you're amazing. And just like that, they crumble. You see, the moment you jump to validate her, you lose tension. You drop your standards. You make it obvious she already has you. That's not attraction. That's surrender. The man who stands out doesn't play into it, doesn't jump at the bait. He pauses. He observes when he calculates, because he understands what's actually being asked. Do you need me to want you, or can you stand in your value with or without my approval? Let's break this down further. In Stoic terms, this is the perfect moment to practice appetite, emotional clarity, and detachment, coldness, but control. The Stoic doesn't react to every invitation with eagerness. He reads the room, he sees the move behind the move. So instead of offering an instant answer, he slows the tempo. Maybe he raises an eyebrow, smiles slightly, and then says something like, that depends. Can you handle a man who doesn't fold? Boom. You just flipped the script. You took her question, held your frame, and offered the standard in return. Now she's wondering, what does that mean? What would it take? Suddenly she's in pursuit, not you. That's where the psychological pull kicks in. Because the less obvious your interest, the more she wants to uncover it. Women are drawn to mystery, not confusion. Mystery. When you're not too eager, when your approval isn't a given, your attention has weight. She feels it. It activates the part of her mind that wants to earn you. Because the truth is, attraction isn't created through praise, created through challenge. And when she feels she has to rise to your level, she starts projecting value onto you. This doesn't mean you become distant or dismissive. That's weak masculinity in disguise. What you want is calm curiosity. Keep it playful. Let your eyes speak more than your words. Maybe say, I don't know what's under all that confidence. Let her wonder what you see. Let her feel like your approval isn't automatic. And here's the deeper twist. Sometimes when she asks, would you date someone like me? She's not even sure she wants the answer. She just wants to feel your presence. She wants to sense whether your attention is free or earned. She wants to know if you're a man who holds back for the right reasons or one who gives everything to whoever asks nicely. Be the first kind. Remember, the man who rushes to say yes kills mystery. Makes her pause, wonder, and lean in. That's the man she remembers. Here's a subtle power move. If you sense she's trying to get a quick ego boost, turn the spotlight. Ask her, why do you ask? Make her explain herself. Flip the tension. She'll either open up or she'll deflect. And either way, you're leading not from control, but from presence. That's what makes the difference. It's not about having the cleverest response. It's about showing that you're not moved by flattery, that you don't need her interest. You choose when to return it. So next time a woman leans in and says, would you ever date someone like me? Don't take it as a compliment. Take it as a test and pass it by staying grounded, unpredictable, and calm. And if you're the kind of man who stays grounded under pressure, who knows that real attraction starts with holding your frame drop, a comment, I don't fold. Let's see how many of you actually get the power of calm control. Number 8, are you always this calm? That question doesn't come out of nowhere. It's not just a compliment, it's a test. When a woman asks you if you're always this calm, what she's really trying to do is peek behind the curtain. She wants to know if what you're showing her is the real you or just a mask you wear to look unbothered. Calmness in a man is rare, especially in today's hyperreactive world where everyone's trying to prove something, post something, win some imaginary game. Calmness feels dangerous. It signals control not just over situations but over yourself. And that's the kind of power women aren't used to seeing up close. Now, let's break it down. Does calm even look like to her? It's when you don't jump at the chance to prove yourself. It's when you pause before you speak. And when you do, your words carry weight. It's when she pushes buttons and you don't flinch. It's when she expects emotional chaos and gets silence instead. Calmness tells her, you've been through storms and came out drier than most. And here's the truth. Women notice that not because they're looking for weak spots to exploit, but because emotional consistency is rare. Most guys crack under the pressure of beauty, validation, or rejection. But the man who doesn't, that's the one she remembers. From a Stoic lens, this goes even deeper. Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. When a woman feels your calm, she feels your strength. Not the gym kind, not the fleshy kind, the kind that says, I know who I am. I don't need your approval to stay centered. Let me give you a quick scenario. You're out to dinner. Things are going well. She tries to stir the pot a little, asks you why you didn't reply to her message earlier. The average guy, he over-explains, used apologizes, but the calm man, he smiles, says, I respond when I'm fully present, not when I'm distracted. And just like that, the tone shifts. She feels something unfamiliar, respect mixed with curiosity. You didn't just pass her test, you flipped the script. Another time she tells you about some guy who hit on her at the bar last night. Most guys would get insecure, territorial, maybe even jealous, but you just say, sounds like he had good taste and move on. That calm, centered energy disarms her. It forces her to play on your rhythm, not hers. It tells her that no matter how hot the fire gets, you'll never sweat. Now, here's the secret. Most men never figure out calmness isn't about being cold. It's about being anchored. You're not reacting because you don't feel you're not reacting because you've already chosen what's worth your energy. That distinction, it's everything. And the moment she starts asking if you're always this calm, that's when you know it's working. You've made her feel something deeper than attraction. You've made her feel safe and intrigued at the same time. And that combination, it's addictive. So stay calm. Let the storm rage around you. Be the eye of it, because that's what she won't be able to look away from. If you get this, if you've been that man in a room full of noise, drop a comment. I choose calm. And get ready, because what's coming next will raise the stakes even higher. Number 9. Do you always listen like this? That question catches most men off guard. Not because it's confusing, but because they're not used to being noticed for doing nothing, just listening. But here's the twist. To a woman, especially one used to surface-level attention, the man who actually listens stands out like fire in a dark room. Not listening just to respond. Not listening to fix her, but listening to feel her. When she asks you, do you always listen like this? She's not just acknowledging your ears, revealing something deeper. She's telling you you've broken through the noise, that she feels heard not as a tactic, not as part of a game, but as a woman. Most guys think attraction is built in the bold moments, the witty comebacks, the show of confidence. But some of the most powerful connections are built in the silence after she speaks. That's where presence lives. And presence, real presence, is intoxicating. Here's what happens when you listen the right way. First, she starts slowing down her words. She's no longer rushing through a story, hoping you'll get bored less quickly. Then, her voice softens, her body leans in. She starts trusting you, not because you've earned it with action, but because you've allowed it with stillness. And then, most importantly, she opens doors she rarely opens. And once she does that, she can't forget you. Stoic philosophy teaches us to master our impulses, restrain the urge to control every moment, to inject ourselves into every space. That applies here more than anywhere. A Stoic man doesn't interrupt because he's calm enough to wait. He doesn't talk over her because he isn't threatened by the space she's filling. He doesn't need to impress her. He's already impressed with his ability to observe. Think of it like this. Listening isn't weakness. It's power under control. It says, I'm not afraid of intimacy. I just won't beg for it. The reason this kind of attention pulls her in is because it feels rare, almost sacred. You're not scanning her words for an angle. You're not waiting to pivot to your story. You're there. That's it. And ironically, the less you try to steer the conversation, the more she invests in it. Women don't remember every word you say, but they remember how they felt when they said theirs around you. If you become the man who creates that emotional container, no chaos, no judgment, no rush, you become unforgettable. So next time she pauses mid-sentence, locks eyes with you and whispers, do you always listen like this? Don't downplay it. Don't joke it off. Just smile. Because in that moment, she's not testing you. She's giving herself away. And if you've been that man, the one who listens with his presence, not his ears, drop this in the comments. I hear what matters. Now stay sharp. The last piece is coming, and it's the most dangerous one of all. Number 10. What are you looking for? This is the question that sounds innocent, even sweet. But don't be fooled. It's not small talk. It's a probe. A calculated move dressed up like curiosity. And it's the final test. When a woman asks, what are you looking for? She's not just asking,